I'm Rory, one of the instructors for Blairvadach, and on today's Blairvadach fight, we're going to test to see how strong a rope is. We use ropes a lot in Blairvadach for climbing, a ropes course, and team building, and a lot of other activities. And we trust them with our lives. Okay? So we're going to explain why we do that by seeing how strong this rope is and what it's made out of. Down in this bag here, there's quite a lot of weight, 40 kgs, which is a little bit heavier than the average 11-year-old. So what we're going to do is, while this rope is underweight, we're going to cut the rope apart, see what it's made of, and see if we can figure out how strong this rope actually is. This is a pretty old rope. I've used and abused it. It's been climbing, it's been out in the garden, and it's not something I climb on anymore because it's about 15 years old, but we're going to test and see how strong it is now. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and cut the sheath, which is the colored bit around the outside, without cutting the core. Let's try and cut the sheath. We're going to use a very sharp knife. So there we go. Now we can see the core. So the cores are all mostly white, and if we actually spread them apart, we can actually see there's quite a few different cores. So by my count, we've got 14 individual cores. Each one of those individual cores, as you can see, looks like a little plait, and that's made out of other individual strings which are twisted around together. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these one at a time. There goes the first one. So first one cut. So we can see we managed to cut 13 of the cores there. So we're just left with one core, and that core is still holding up the 40 kg weight. So what we can see is the core is made up out of 3 strands twisted together. So what we're going to try and do is just cut one of those strands and see what happens. So we managed to cut one of the strands in the core, and the bag is still being held up. So 2/3 of a strand will hold the bag. So let's see if we can cut one more. Couldn't quite handle that. So we can do some quick maths. This bag was 40 kgs. There was 14 strands. That means 14 times, I'm not doing this in my head, 14 times 40. This rope could hold at least 560 kgs, so half a ton. However, if we remember, we actually managed to cut a third of the strand in the smaller strand. So what we can do is we can actually divide that by 2, multiply it by 3, and then we can get 840 kgs is the minimum this rope could hold. The strands working together generally tend to be stronger, and we also have to account for the fact that the sheath is there. So the sheath, while it's their main job is to protect the cord, it also adds some extra strength. And so you can see through our simple experiment that even a 15-year-old rope is really strong, and how we as instructors at Blairvadach can trust the much newer ropes we use with both our lives and yours.